Wow, we got it to work. Huh. Hello, I am feeling better this week. Doug helped me pick out my outfit. Do you like? Spooky Sunday dinners, spooky Sunday dinners, spooky Sunday dinners. Still can't afford a theme song. Hey guys, for those of you that don't know, my name is Johnny Taylor and this is Spooky Sunday Dinners. Where every Sunday, every other Sunday, when I'm late Monday, the Thursday's gonna happen. We talk about a true crime case that I just really wanna fucking talk about. We talk about a true crime case that I just really wanna fucking talk about while we make a fairly easy recipe. So if true crime, cooking, and dark humor is your thing, you might want to hit that subscribe button below. Yeah guys, we're back. How was your Thanksgiving? I'm filming this before Thanksgiving, so Thanksgiving update after. Also, someone talked shit about my intro last week in the comments. Thank you for your comment. But yeah, last week was a little weird. And luckily, the CIA hasn't gotten me for it yet, but there's still time. So this week, being Thanksgiving and all, it kind of got me thinking about family because a lot of us aren't able to spend this holiday with our families. And if you said fuck off to the rules and traveled to go see your family, fuck you. But really, I know that we're all missing our family right now. So that got me thinking to one of my favorite true crime categories ever. Family annihilators. Yeah guys, and we're doing like the biggest one of all. We're gonna talk about John List. And while we talk about John List, we are actually going to be making a family recipe today. This is a top secret family recipe that I had my mom write out for me this week. It is green chili chicken enchilada casserole. Yes, it's a mouthful of deliciousness. So we know who we're talking about and what we're making, which can only mean it's time for Karen disclaimers. All right guys, Karen disclaimer number 1. These are not professional recipes. I don't have the nutritional facts and they're not really for nutritional value. It's just what I feel like cooking that evening. So if you make this and you don't like it, or you fuck up and get sick, it's not my fault. Do better. Again, these are not professional recipes. We are scraping mediocre. And I'm sorry, Mom, if I offend you and fuck up this recipe. Karen disclaimer number 2. This is spooky Sunday dinners. Emphasis on spooky. We talk about true crime, disease, murder, and all fucked up shit, while we sprinkle a nice little dash of comedy on top, because that's how I cope with being obsessed with something so fucking dark. If that offends you in any way, shape, or form, makes you want to pick up your phone to call, text, DM, or write me an email saying how offensive and what a bad person I am. Shut up, Karen. It's the holidays. Our disclaimers are out of the way. Now I will be going over the ingredients you will need for this recipe. As usual, they will be listed in the description down below. This is just so you don't get mad at me. We are going to need between 2 and 5 boneless, skinless chicken breasts. I will be making a very small casserole because I can't eat it. So I went ahead and boiled 2 chicken breasts, seasoned them with salt, pepper, and garlic, and shredded them. If you need to learn how to boil and shred chicken, check out the first video I ever did. Green chili of choice. Now, if you've seen my videos before, you know that I swear by Bueno green chili. I actually have this shipped to me all the way from New Mexico, and I can't get enough of it. But really, any chopped green chili will do. I'm just a hoe for Bueno. A can of cream of mushroom soup. I know, it sounds crazy. I didn't believe it either. Corn tortillas. We are going to use these in layering in our casserole. Both olive oil to cook with and an olive oil spray for our baking dish. A ton of queso of choice. Yes, I got another giant bag. And finally, our seasonings are just salt, pepper, and a shit ton of garlic. Once your chicken is boiled, you're gonna go ahead and preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Now we are going to work on making that inside meat of the casserole, if you will. While we go over who John List is. I'm going to be using my cast iron enamel pot, but you can use any pot, pan, or saucepan that will hold your cream of mushroom soup and almost a whole container of that green chili. We're going to put it on medium heat and let's start. All right, so John List was born September 17th of 1925. He was born in Bay City, Michigan. His parents were John Sr. and Alma List. His father was a super devout, hardcore Lutheran and Sunday school teacher. This obviously inspired John very much, and he grew up and grew into a super devout, die-hard Lutheran dude. Lutheran dude? He ended up enlisting in the military in 1943, and he was a laboratory technician in World War II. After he was discharged, he actually ended up going to the University of Michigan. He got his bachelor's degree in business administration and his master's in accounting. In 1950, he was recalled back to active military service, I guess. This was like the height of the Korean War, and ended up being stationed in Virginia. And there is actually where he meets Helen Morris Taylor. She had one daughter, Brenda, and was actually the widow who had lost her husband in the Korean War. They ended up married by December 1st of 1951 and moved to California. Now, the reason they moved to California was actually because the military found out about John's background in accounting and stationed him somewhere where he could do something with that. After his second tour, he went ahead and moved to Detroit with his family in 1952. That is where they then moved to Kalamazoo. A lot of moving going around. While in Kalamazoo, John and Helen end up having 3 children. Now, the reason they keep moving and doing things is because it's really, really hard for John to keep a job. This is basically because his personality sucks. Helen's oldest daughter, Brenda, that we mentioned prior in the story, ended up getting married and moving away. This is where the family moves to Rochester, New York. After moving to Rochester, New York, John actually ends up getting a job as the vice president and comptroller of a bank in Jersey City. He moves to Jersey City with his family and his mother. It is said that Helen basically forced John to purchase this insane mansion for her. It was a 19-room mansion called Breeze Knoll. Now, this mansion was absolutely insane. It was 19 rooms. It had an insane, huge, ballroom in it that included an original Tiffany stained glass skylight. I know, insane. Imagine it. But it looks like from the outside, everything is going really well with the List family. We all know that's a crock of shit. At this time, Helen is actually struggling with a severe alcohol problem. She's constantly humiliating the family, and even at some social functions, she would talk shit about John and sexually compare him to her late husband. Yikes. With all of this stress going on and his personality being absolutely terrible, John ends up losing his job at the bank. Instead of confronting his family, telling them what's going on and working to get past it, he can't deal with that humiliation and that feeling of letdown and disappointment. So he gets up every single morning, and this goes on for so long, puts his suit on, briefcase and all, gets dressed, goes to the train station, then sits at the train station reading the newspaper all day. Yeah, all day until it's time to go home. All right, guys, our pot is heated up. We're gonna go in with that 1 can of cream of mushroom soup and about 1 container of green chili. So unfortunately, John just absolutely cannot come to terms with what's happening with his family. The foreclosure proceedings start on his house, and his wife is just basically losing her shit, you guys. After the foreclosure proceedings began on Breeze Knoll, John was really afraid that he was going to get, quote, exposed and would have to go on welfare. That is when John List decides that he needs to come up with a plan. And then he comes up with the fucking plan. Now that our soup and chili is in that pot, we're gonna season well with salt and garlic and let it kind of come to a simmer, and we're gonna leave it there for about 10 to 15 minutes. All right guys, so it's been about 15 minutes that filling has been simmering in our pot. Now we're just going to take a regular old pan, throw a little bit of oil on it so that we can fry up only the bottom layer of our corn tortillas. We don't want this shit to be soggy. Also, don't forget to spray your baking sheet with that spray oil. All right, so on November 9th of 1971, John's kids, he's got 3 kids, remember, they wake up, they go to school, everything seems normal. This is when his wife, Helen, is sitting having her coffee like in the breakfast area of the home. John comes up behind her, puts a gun to the back of her head, and shoots her. Yeah, we're just hopping into this one. When he sees that she's dead, he then goes up to his mother's upper wing of the home. This is where he shoots his mother face to face, just above her left eye. Shortly after this, 2 of John's kids come home. His daughter Patricia, who is 16 years old, and his son Frederick, who's around 12 years old. Now, Patricia is actually one of the coolest kids ever. She's super into like her theater thing at her school. She's this cool 70s girl that actually just got caught smoking pot. Like she's just the shit. But unfortunately, John shoots both of those kids in the back of the head. And yes, kids, don't ever trust your parents. So all of this happens, all of these people are dead in the house, and what does John do? What is the first thing he thinks? Yo, I'm kind of hungry. I shit you not, this man went, sat down, ate a bologna sandwich with dead people in his house, and then continued on with his plan. After eating his bologna sandwich, John headed out to the bank and ended up closing both his and his mother's accounts and draining his mother's savings. Now, I will mention that prior to this, before they started to foreclose on the house, John was taking money out of his mother's account to cover the bills. So that account was already pretty low, and it seemed pretty fucking, sus as fuck. So it is rumored, but not confirmed, that after going to the bank, John heads to his son's school, his son that is still alive. His son had a soccer game that day, and it is said that John sat and watched his son's entire soccer game. If that's not fucked up enough for you, he also gave his son a ride home. They get home and the kid sees what's going on. When he does, he freaks out and his dad pulls out a gun. After a fight, John ends up shooting his son, John Jr., age 15, multiple times in the torso, neck, and head. Alright guys, be sure to fry up as many corn tortillas as needed to cover the bottom part of your baking sheet. I know I normally say don't be a little bitch and flip them yourself, but we're dealing with hot oil here, and please don't hurt yourself, you guys. All right, you guys, the bottom layer of our casserole has those fried tortillas in it, and our cream of mushroom green chili mixture is all cooked up. Now we're gonna go ahead and take our shredded chicken, add it to the mixture, and mix it well. So after John has now killed his entire family, he continues on with his plan and calls the kids' school. He lets the school know that the family is actually like going on vacation or like going to see Helen's family, and they're going to be gone for quite some time. Now at this time, John felt like he tied up enough loose ends and took the opportunity to sit like in his study office area and write out a 5-page letter to his pastor, because that's what you do after killing your entire fucking family. In this letter, he basically said that he was trying to save his family and that the 1970s had become a, quote, sinful time, and he felt like his family was kind of giving in to that temptation. He also goes into his daughter wanting to be an actress and saying that that's basically like, has to do with Satan and stuff, because clearly, if there's anything we've learned, is that, And to be totally and completely honest, to me, this letter sounds more like John using his religion as a cop-out rather than being an actual, like, good Lutheran man. All right, we have the bottom of our casserole ready. It is these fried, kind of a little bit harder corn tortillas. From here, we are going to go in with a layer of our green chili chicken mixture and then a layer of cheese. We're going to repeat it until we have 3 layers total. Now, this is where John decides that he is going to get some sleeping bags, and he's going to put his family in these sleeping bags and then take them to that beautiful ballroom that I told you about. He places everyone in his family but his mother in that ballroom, and he does state that his mother was not placed in that ballroom because she was too heavy for him to carry, which is like such an insult, honestly. But once he puts his family in the ballroom, he goes ahead and turns the thermostat down on the house as low as it will possibly go to kind of like preserve the bodies, I guess. He then turns on every single light in the house. And finally, the last thing he does in the house is go and cut his face out of every single family photo or photo of himself in the house, which we will get to later because sounds like it's the creepiest thing ever, but it's actually kind of the most genius thing ever. All right, we've got chicken layer and cheese layer. We're gonna go in with some corn tortillas, and these ones we actually are not going to fry, and that's because these are gonna cook up nicely in the oven. So about a month goes by, and nobody really thinks anything of it. This family was really known for not being very social because of Helen's issues. The only reason people notice anything about this family not being around is because their neighbors notice that when all the lights are on, slowly over the course of a month, lights on the house are slowly burning out. So like a light will burn out and then the bulb will never be changed. And that's slowly happening until the house goes all dark. The neighbors end up calling the police, and when police get there, they look through the window and see what they think are bodies. Obviously, they take this as a huge emergency, and the police bust down the door to the home. They are immediately greeted with not only the smell of death, but loud organ music. Guys, John went and put on like, I don't know if it was like organ Sirius radio, I don't know, but like creepy organ music on repeat, played it over the loudspeaker of the house as loud as it would go. So imagine you bust into this home, smell of death, organ music. It's the movie I've always wanted. Obviously, because of everything going on, a nationwide manhunt starts. Now, remember the really cool, awesome theater daughter? Well, it turns out that she actually ended up confiding in one of her teachers that if the family ever went on vacation or left for like an extended period of time, she was sure that her father was going to kill the family. The teacher obviously tells law enforcement this right away, and the manhunt for John List starts, except for one little problem. They have no current photos of him because he cut them all out. God, he's good. So pretty much, John not only has a 1-month lead, but no photo proof of what he looks like. During the search, they actually do find the car at the JFK airport, but there's no record or anything of him taking a flight or anything happening. All right, guys, this is our very last layer of cheese, and we're actually gonna make this layer a bit bigger if your pan allows, so we can really get a good amount of cheese on top melted. The last thing we're gonna do is take a piece of foil, and my mom's secret is that she actually sprays the foil with a bit of that cooking spray. Now that our casserole is all put together, we have the foil on it, we're going to go ahead and put it in our 350-degree oven for 45 minutes. After that 45 minutes, we're actually going to take the foil off for the last 15 so that cheese gets nice and melted. But I know what you're thinking. Where the fuck did John go? Well, Karen, we don't find out for 18 years. That's right, guys. This case was cold for 18 fucking years. All right, guys, so the first 45 minutes has gone by with our casserole in the oven. We're gonna go ahead and take it out, take the foil off, and then throw it back in for another 15 minutes. Amazon storefront. All right, so what the fuck happened in that 18 years? Well, we actually later found out that John planted his car at the airport. From there, he ended up taking a train from New Jersey to Michigan to Colorado and started a whole new life in Denver. I shit you not, guys. This happened. This is real. He started his new life under the name Robert Peter or Bob Clark and was actually working as an accountant. He joined the local Lutheran church in Denver and even ran their carpool for people that couldn't make it to church. And it was at that church he went on to meet Dolores Miller. And they got married in 1985. What is that song? You know, got a wife and kids in Baltimore Jack. He went out for a ride. He never went back. Him and Dolores end up moving from Denver to Virginia in 1988. And I don't know if you're fucking ready for this. In May of 1989, the amazing, the original, the one and only, one of my favorite childhood TV shows, America's Most Wanted, aired an episode about the List family. It was a huge cold case, and John List was on the America's Most Wanted list. On the list. They ended up finding an old photo of John, and they bring in insanely talented, iconic forensic sculptor Frank Bender to create a bust of John. But using photos of his parents and I guess medical history and stuff, they were able to actually use more forensic technology to age John. So this bust is John List, but John List 18 years later. They also work with other forensic analysts and come up with John actually wore glasses, but that he was going to use very thick frames to try to disguise himself as somebody more important than he was. And this episode was actually more for entertainment purposes than anything. It was kind of 18 years, cold case, cool content, but they weren't really sure if anything was going to come from it. They would love if something happened, but to be honest, they kind of had a snowball's chance in hell when it came to solving this. But you guys, an awesome, badass couple was chilling at home watching the show one night, and they're like me, where they pay attention to every sketch and human that passes by them in life. It's not a problem, Mom. It's safety. But they're watching the show, and the wife turns and goes, "Holy shit, that's our old neighbor Bob." They end up calling it in, and yeah, Bob is John List. The bust that they created looked so identical to him, and they were spot on with the glasses. It's hard to tell from photos of John and photos of the bust which is which. He ends up getting arrested on June 1st of 1989 at work. Now, John tried to lie and say that it wasn't him, you have the wrong guy, and his lies lasted for about a month. But after showing the evidence that they had, the DNA and fingerprints from the home matched him, matched the DNA and fingerprints that the military had, because remember, this motherfucker was in the military. John is finally like, okay, JK, it's me. And finally, on February 16th of 1990, John confessed. And he confessed to every last thing. He went to trial and said that he was abused as a child. And he also said at the trial he was apparently dealing with not only his wife's alcohol problem, but also her undiagnosed syphilis that she got from her late husband that apparently was eating her brain and making her go crazy. I know. Honestly, I'm lost as well. What? According to John, all of those things mixed together made her a paranoid shut-in, and he just couldn't take it. And honestly, he just kind of sounds bitter about all the shit she said about his pee-pee. And we don't like that energy. The bitter second husband bit is so overplayed. He went on to say that he was trying to, quote, save his family from the humiliation of being poor and stuff, and send them to heaven. I thought John List was coming to get me. I don't know if you heard that. Anyway, say it with me, everybody. Narcissist. John never showed an ounce of remorse and never apologized for anything. He was also throughout this diagnosed with obsessive-compulsive personality disorder, and it meant that his brain could only see two solutions to this problem: accept welfare and be humiliated, or kill his whole family. Really bad decision-making, dude. On October 12th of 1990, John was convicted of 5 counts of first-degree murder. Of course, he tried not to take responsibility because of his, quote, mental state at the time. The judge was like, nah, and sentenced him to 5 life terms to be served consecutively. And by the way, I know that it's like 85% of family annihilators actually kill themselves as well, but the reason John didn't off himself was because he said that if he killed himself, he couldn't get into heaven because it was like the ultimate sin. I feel like murder times 5 is like right up there. I don't know the rules, I don't know. But on March 21st of 2008, John died of pneumonia in prison at the age of 82. Yeah, in 2008. But we haven't even gotten to the best part of this story. There's a twist. 10 months after these murders happened, Breeze Knoll was destroyed in a fire. Someone burned the house down. I don't know, arson? But guess what they found in that fire? That original Tiffany stained glass skylight, which at the time was worth about $100,000, which would have been like well over $1 million today. And guess what would have totally covered their debt? The fucking original Tiffany stained glass skylight. It was right there the whole time, literally over their dead bodies. Honestly, the whole reason I'm telling you this is because, Thanksgiving, family annihilators, and this plot twist ending. Another really interesting fact is because of the timeline and because of the amount of money that John actually took out of the bank before disappearing, there is a theory that John List is actually D.B. Cooper, which, if you don't know that story, but I personally think there's absolutely no way that John List is D.B. Cooper. D.B. Cooper wasn't a little bitch. John List was. I really want to know what you guys think about family annihilators and what you think about that plot twist ending where the skylight would have handled everything. Do you think he was too ashamed and embarrassed to sell it back to Tiffany? He did say that going on welfare, accepting handouts, and not providing for his family was against what his father taught him as a Lutheran man, which I feel like is total bullshit. I don't think any religion would be like, hey, if you can't put food on the table, just kill them all. Well, maybe. I don't know. Wow. It looks so good, Mom. All right, guys, our casserole is just about done. We're gonna pull it out of the oven, but I'm actually not gonna cut it and plate it for you. This casserole really needs to cool before Doug can eat it, so I'll be sure to show you the finished product, just not the casserole plated. And once again, thank you so much, Mom, for writing this shit out for me. All right, guys, this is our casserole straight out of the oven. This is terrifying because one of my earliest memories is my mom dropping one of these in the kitchen. Thank you so much for cooking with me today, and thank you for letting me tell you this insane fucking story. Be sure to comment below future crimes you want me to cover and recipes you want me to try. And I hope you guys had a really great Thanksgiving, whether you were able to spend it with your family or not. I know 2020 is fucking weird. Thank you for watching Spooky Sunday Dinners. I am still singing. Still can't afford a theme song. I really gotta cook this turkey now. Beep, beep. Who got the keys to the Jeep? Ooh. Really though, wish me luck cooking Thanksgiving for the very first time by myself.